Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Adam. Welcome to another P3D video. So we're talking about V5 today, and planes that the lighting for, like the landing lights, the taxi lights, strobe or logo, don't actually do anything in V5. Mainly probably the Coronado planes, but really any plane. I'm going to show you how you can easily update your plane with really nice lighting effects, and we're going to be using Microsoft Flight Simulator lights applied to the planes in P3D V5. Like I said, this is mainly for V5, but this process will work in any version of a V5. So I've got the Dorinair 228 here, and as you can see, it does actually have some like wing lights. It has, I think, the underneath one is flashing here, and if we look head on, you know, these two lights here light up. Now these lights are all textures, they're not dynamic at all, and I do have the landing lights on, and as you can see, they're not actually affecting, and you can't see anything. Like when you're inside the flight deck, you don't see anything, and yet, you know, the lights is on there. All the lights are on, in fact, inside. Now the inside the flight deck is actually fine, not a problem, but I can't see any like taxi light or not, you know, landing light, although in this plane the taxi light is kind of the same switch, you just toggle it down, but it doesn't show anything, you know. Even if you turn it to the landing lights, it's still nothing. So this can be very hard to use at night and navigate around in the sim if you can't see where you're going. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply night lighting add-on from Microsoft Flight Simulator that somebody made. It was on that FLIGHTSIM TO channel, and it was made for the default planes in Microsoft. Now I've put the zip file for the files in my Discord, but I mean literally I'll put a link in the description box below to which light mod that I'm referring to, because at the end of the day, if they do take them down, then at least we've still got them here to be able to use. And they're called New Light 4.9.11, and inside it has all the default aircraft and all the files, but it also has kind of like the original files here as well. There's one for Coronado because there's some Coronado planes in there, and I've so far have applied it to the King Air 350 and the ATR, and the result is actually very nice. So I thought, even though they haven't got a Dorinair here, we're going to use Coronado. So first things first, inside the FX folder there is a load of FX files. Now these files are exactly the same type of files that P3D reads and uses to implement the lighting on the aircraft. Now these files are just instructions on how the light gets displayed in the sim. It doesn't actually talk about positioning these lights, and it doesn't actually, there's no textures in here. These are just instructions for how they will show in the sim. So head over to your effects folder here and basically copy these over. Now I'm doing Coronado, but what you want to be doing is the kind of the default ones first. So you want to take all the ones from New Effects Flare and Lights, and you want to take all the well, there's no effects files in here, there will be in Lights. You want to take all these effects files here and place them in your effects folder. And as you can see here, I've got them all here, and now I've got the Coronado ones. Then you want to make sure that if there's any textures in that folder, you want to go to the top and into texture here, and you want to place the DDS files only. The JSON files have nothing to do with P3D and they won't have any effect, but the DDS files, these are the textures that will show, and this is the same type of file structure and format that P3D reads. So if we go to Coronado, was there any textures in there? No. And basically, for whichever plane you want to use in this list, and sometimes if I go down to the 350, there will be just a systems CFG. Now, this is quite important, and as you can see, the Coronado didn't have this one. Although the 350 is a Coronado plane, but this here are the instructions on how to bind them to the plane. Now, looking at this CFG file, by the way, aircraft CFG, this says systems, but this is basically an aircraft CFG. In P3D, all these entries, electrical, hydraulics, and all this are in the aircraft folder here, exactly in the same format. Like the systems for the planes in Microsoft are exactly the same in P3D. They're just kind of written out differently. But the way you stitch lights, so if we look here, I mean, this doesn't actually have any instructions for lights. If we look in the Coronado F50, it has here, these are the instructions for the lights for that plane. Now, the ones that say VC light or for the virtual cockpit, you can ignore them. And then you've got these three instructions here, which are for the landing lights. Now, we'll have a look at the Fokker 50 after we do the Air, where there actually isn't any. So what we first need to do is give it some instructions as a base. So I'm using the ATR 450, where as you can see, I've already assigned a load of stuff here already. So I'm just going to copy this over, only because the Air doesn't actually have any here. This isn't a required step if there's already entries here. So you can skip this step if there's entries here. Now, the virtual light ones, the virtual light cockpits, they don't apply. In fact, if I go into the effects folder, I don't believe there was any Coronado, be under FX Coronado. I don't believe there was a Coronado for the Air here. So we got the ATR. Yeah, there's literally nothing here for this plane in terms of effects files. So we've got all the other planes here, but for some reason, this was never given effects files for whatever reason. So, like, I could use this FVC light from the ATR. It's still a two-winged plane. It might not work. So I'm just going to leave that for now. So what you'll do is, if you do actually have entries here, I just want to take you through what they mean. I'll use the ATR. Actually, I can't use the ATR because it's already been written over. I'll use this one, the F50. Just want to take you through what a lot of these entries mean. So under the lights section, and you'll find your aircraft CFG in the plane of choice. So here we are in the Air, and it's in the aircraft CFG file. Okay, and then you just scroll down to the lighting section. Now, anything with a dash doesn't read it. It skips it. So this is basically telling you exactly what types of lights there are. There's beacon, strobes, navigation, cockpit, landing, taxi, recognition, wing, logo, and cabin. So the number here, 10, 10, 5, 5, 6, relates to what type of light it needs to call. So this bottom one here is a 6. So this is for the taxi light. This is a 5, so this is for the landing light. Even though they use the same file, this instruction of where they're going to be is most likely the placement of it. Where will you find the taxi light? Where will you find the landing light? And then it uses the file here. Now, this is the effects file. So if we go back to effects, there will be a FX land light car. If we scroll down, we got land light car here. Land light car FX50. That's exactly this file here. And if we open this up, you can actually see it has a load of entries, properties, emitter, particle, yada, yada, yada. Now, if we open up one of the Asobo ones, so if we just scroll down to where it said Asobo, which was the L's, Here we go. And we look at a Coronado one. We'll just look at a random one for taxi. And we open it up. It's exactly the same instructions, which means these lights from Microsoft are transferable to P3D and they will work natively. So going back on the Doronair one, so I've kind of obviously written out for the ATR, and this is the ATR, which are all the ones that say Asobo. But we're going to rework these with Coronados. So if we go into the Coronado file here, it's a list of thingies, and if I just click on it, I can copy it out. So here we have navigation green. So I don't actually see a navigation green here, so can't use that one. But there is a navigation red, so we'll copy this out. Copy, and then go to navigation red, and then paste it in Control V, and that's changed that now. Going back to here, there's a navigation white, so we'll take this one. Copy, navigation white, paste it in. What else is there? There's a beacon belly, which is in P3D, you'll probably see that as a beacon B, but it's the belly, so we put that in. We got taxi, landing, and landing left and right. So there's a taxi one here. Now I don't know what the difference is between the two and the normal one. I'm guessing the 2 might be for larger planes. So actually let's use the 2 and just see what happens. So that'll cover the taxi one. Then we need the landing one, so we'll use the number 2 again. Landing. And then we've got strobe. Strobe simple, copy that. Now, all I'm doing is telling the sim, when it reads this, what effect file, okay, you need to look at in order to attach the correct effects. Because remember, in the effects folder, there's a texture folder, okay? And in those texture folders are the textures that will be assigned to the plane based off the instructions in the effects file. So all I'm doing is telling it where to look. Now, there isn't a landing left and a landing right, so we'll have to leave that one. There is is there a strobe simple green or a strobe green? There's a navigation green, but that's not the same thing. So we've got navigation red. We can use that. Now, when you're making changes like this, you really do have to restart your sim in order to see, because all this stuff that I'm copying over is already loaded on the plane, so it won't actually work. Well, actually there was nothing loaded on this plane, rather, sorry, but it won't actually just suddenly read it off the fly. You do kind of have to reload your sim. So logo lights, there is no Coronado logo lights, we'll leave that one. These logo wings, I don't really... So all these with the // aren't being read at all, so they can be skipped. I just leave them in there so I know what the original one was. And they all have to be numbered in sequence. So you got light 1, and it has to go down in sequence. Right, I can't actually see anything else here that we want to put in. So we go to File, we go to Save. That's done. Retry as admin, and when that one goes, there we go, it's now saved. So I'm basically just going to restart my sim, and I'll bring you back when it's restarted. Coming back in, this is what has happened to the plane now. It kind of really hasn't altered the flickering strobes that are on the either side of the plane, because these are all applied to the model themselves. These were in textures within the model, so they weren't actually a part of that CFG. But as you can see, it's actually given us 2 massive landing lights, and you can see now that if we're in the flight deck, it actually does illuminate quite a lot in front, and also it gives this blue hue all within the flight deck now, and actually illuminates our flight deck quite considerably more, so we can actually see the panels that I couldn't really see before because it was quite dark. So as you can see, there's like a blue purpley hue here along all these panels, which are coming from these lights here at the bottom, illuminating everything. And on this side, it's kind of like a almost like a yellowy hue because of the yellow hue outside. But also you can see that it does now shine, you know, on the runway in front of it. So and you know, it adds these pretty nice, you know, colored lights. The textures, they are still there because they are part of the you know, part of the actual model itself, but that's it. So that's exactly what you get. So I mean, yeah, I mean, actually that does look okay, but I think we can make it look better. So let's head back into our, so the door and air is done. Let's have a look at our F50. So these are the only lights here doing anything. So we've got a strobe light, a cockpit light, and a landing light. So the landing lights we can change. Now, I'm not going to use the Coronado landing light here. We're going to go have a look at something else that's kind of similarly sized. So the Fokker 50 is very much quite a largish plane. Definitely larger than a Caravan. Not as big as an Airbus or a 737. I don't actually see one here that is comparable. De Havilland 2? No, I don't really think so. CJ4 is probably the closest, but that's a jet. And I kind of want to choose a prop. So I'm actually going to go with the King Air because, yeah. So opening this up here, all the names of the files are here. So we are looking for a landing light to go into. So let's get rid of these two system ones. So we're looking for a landing light here, which I see landing there. So, but and there is only a one file here. So there isn't, usually you'd see two, you know, because if we look at landing is number 5, so that's the one we're going to change. If there were two there, then we could use a left and a right, but unfortunately it's just the one. So number 4 is a cockpit light. I'm going to leave that. Number 3 is the navigation light. So that also uses the same light, but there is actually a navigation light here. So there's navigation green, navigation red, and down here there's a navigation white, navigation tail. I think we're going to use the navigation white. So it's number 5. Oh, sorry, there are two 5 here. There are 2 landing lights. Number 6 was the taxi. Oh, I've done that wrong. Sorry, number 6 is the taxi. So that needs to actually be a taxi light. Whoops. That's my bad. Okay, let's fix this before we carry on. There was 2 ones, so let's do a taxi large. Copy that, pop it in there. So that's actually a taxi light. I was reading the light number here, so that's 6. There are 2 5, so there is a left and a right for the landing lights. So we can use landing left and right. So this is landing left. Now there's no indication as to which is which, so I mean, it doesn't really matter which one you put it under. So we'll put landing left there, and then landing right here. Now, obviously, if you make a mistake, first off, I'd advise to back up your file. You know, so if you do make a mistake, you can start all over again with the original file. But you can easily just wipe over anything here. So these two are cabin ones, so we're not going to mess with that. So we've got 2 landings and we've got 1 taxi. Now, at the end of the day, I could put other things in here, because if we look at it, right, like, yes, it has got the wing lights here that are flickering. Now, they are bound again to the model itself, so they've been built in with the model. Same with this engine light here. This is actually a texture that has been modeled onto the aircraft, so putting a light there, I mean, these lights coming off have nothing to do with this light source or this light source bouncing off this engine. These are separate elements that, when combined, give the illusion. Okay, so none of this is actually doing anything. So what we will see here is a difference to what's on the floor, and the combination of everything should actually give a very nice effect. The logo light here, I don't see anything there, so let's put a logo light in. Now, first off, what we need to do is actually define the logo light, because it doesn't actually have, but it has got the number 9 here to say it can be a logo light. So if I just go to my AT4 and I grab the logo light from here, so this one, copy this line over, because they are comparable, put it at the bottom. We need to change that to a 6 because it's the next light, and then this needs to say 9 instead of 8. Just line them up for my own amusement, just so I know. There we go. So this is a logo light that will affect the logo. Obviously these values, you know, will look different. I might have to alter them. But what else is it I feel it's missing? I mean, I did say I could put a strobe on as well, a red and a green at the end of the day. Like, if it doesn't have it in real life, then we don't really put it on. But we can actually put these two on here. So we've got navigation green. Oops-a-daisy. So actually, let's take it from here. We've got navigation red, white. There's no, yeah, simple. So basically, this line here, copy over. That's number 7. And then that's the green. Then we've got the navigation red, which might as well take the one that is actually in use. So that becomes an 8. And obviously you got to remember to change the number. So if this is a strobe light, it needs to say 2, not 3. And this one is a navigation red, so it needs to say 3. So we got red, green, and let's grab a white. And that'll become a 9. And again, like I said, as long as everything lines up here numerically. This is a navigation, so 3. And green, red, and white. And that's it. I don't actually need the old style, I feel, on this one. But the left and the right, definitely. So we got the landing left and right. We got a taxi. I think that's it, to be honest. I think that'll do, in all honesty. Let me just save that now. So now let's go have a look at our door and air, and at the end of the day, it should actually... Is that going to go? Something's unsaved here. There we go. Right. So if we load up the Dorinair again, it should actually now include the changes. So if we just bring up ready for taxi and turn on all the lights. Obviously needs a bit more implementation because again it's still not bright enough, so need to look at that again. It could also be the effect file. So if we have a look at the file that I put on for that logo, so the Dorinair, the logo light is light Asobo logo light, and we go have a look at the effect file here, and we load it up. It could be attributes in here. So if we go to a effect file from Carenado that I know works, we can basically see maybe what it's missing. So strobe, Carenado strobe, that's what else. No, logo light, there we go. Okay, so if we look here and go down to particle attributes, there is a fall off exponent here, and basically all of these, and if we look at the light Asobo for these here, it actually has got different values. So what I could do is take these two values, intensity for day and night, copy them across, and also the fall off exponent as well, because that will show, that will say how bright it needs to be, and I'll change, or the how great the fall off will be, to be honest. So I'll change that to 125, and we'll save that, and we'll go load up back into the F50 and then come back to this, and that should then, and there we go, loaded back in now. And as you can see, just an enhancement really, because obviously this had working lights, but it more or less enhances this lighting. Got to look into why the logo still isn't working. That probably hasn't even got an assignment of light for it, but I would say that this is much better. And if we go inside the flight deck as well, again, kind of illuminated, where the light has hit, and a much brighter flight deck as well, which you can probably tell with the lights off better. But yeah, I actually much prefer this. It actually, I can see all this now, and obviously they work in accordance to the switches, because that's the way it's been set up. But yeah, there we go. Basically, that is how you get Microsoft night lighting inside P3D for planes that don't have it. Now, this is basically the same as getting one of those Parallel 42 immersion packs and having their type of lighting added. Like this, you can really mess about with at the end of the day. Now, I don't actually see any volumetric lighting coming through here, which is a little bit of a burn. I would actually prefer to see that. So if I go back into here and I take these entries here, these are a fake volumetric lighting, and I could add these to it. So 15, 16, 17, and 18. These are not volumetric lighting lights. They create a fake volumetric lighting. So if we basically change planes again, if we go back into the Dorinair and back out again, it will reload that CFG with the changes. Select, and obviously this is applying it to all the liveries because all the liveries share this CFG file, so it makes no difference. Put that on, that on, that on, that on, and is that on? Yeah, that's on. Oh, see better under there, but for the purposes of this. And now if we have a look, now we get that volumetric lighting, sort of completing the illusion, you know, that you can see. It does, I believe, add as well from inside the cockpit view a volumetric lighting, but it looks a whole lot better. And obviously, if we were to turn off, say, our taxi lights, you'd lose a little bit, or if you turn off your landing lights, it's completely dark, and you can see what it adds. Obviously, the taxi light here is what's illuminating the cabin, though, so might need to change that so it illuminates the storm light, whatever that is. But basically, there you go. That is how you attach Microsoft night lights to P3D. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget, I give away €50 of Sim Market vouchers every single month. To begin with a chance to win, all you have to do is be a subscriber of my channel, leave comments down below in any one of my P3D videos. And at the end of every single month, I'll go live with a vlog to announce the winner. Thank you for watching this. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.